Right, so welcome to tonight's goal setting session. So the aim of this is to give you loads of things to think about and to do, so you leave the session with a bit of a plan. So it might not be in depth, but it's something you can come back to. If you can't hear me, maybe test out your settings on the audio. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yeah. Okay, you might want to check, make sure your settings are up. So I'm going to go through some bits with you, ask you some questions. You're going to ask yourself some questions, and you're going to leave with some notes as well from this. So we're heading into the last quarter of the year. So next Sunday, not this Sunday, coming Sunday after, we will start the last 90 days of the year. And it's really important that you've got some goals or something to work towards. Doesn't matter how big it is, but you need to know the sort of direction where you go in. It doesn't have to be bob on, but you need to have a general direction. If you think of a compass, you don't have to have the exact bearing, but as long as you go in towards a rough idea of where you'd like to be, then that's a really, really good start. So just having some sort of direction will help you, and that's what we're going to get on this. So the really interesting thing that we see all the time from people that are on our 4 weeks as well is how quickly things can change. So there's a couple of ladies that started with us on Monday, and some of them haven't exercised for years. Some of them haven't been eating great for a long time, not in a routine, feeling a bit down. And then within like 48 hours, things have changed. So all of a sudden, their foods look completely different. They're moving more, they're drinking more water, and they're doing a lot more than what they were. And it's only taken 2 days. So how long do you actually need to start seeing change and results? Well, it happens instantly. So if you can make a commitment tonight to doing what you say you're going to do and just work on that every single day for the next 90 days, then you'll get some big success. When we push things off in the future and say we'll start next week or the week after, then we start delaying what we want, and the likelihood of it happening is severely reduced. So action's in the moment, and that's what's really important to take from this as well. So don't push things off. I'll do such and such when. Have a look at what you can actually get done now, even if it's a tiny, tiny piece of it. And then that's where the success lies. So the first little exercise that I wanted to do is just to list what's gone well so far. Whether you want to do this for the whole year, the last week, it's up to you. But I'm going to give you a little minute now just to start doing that. Make some notes of the questions that I'm asking. This recording will be available. So you can come back into more depth later on tonight, or you can revisit on the weekend, but make sure you've got some little points to go on to. If you're really, really struggling, you can't find something that's gone well, then just slow down and think really, really, really simply on this. So the first question to ask, and like I said, I'll give you a minute, is just to list what's gone well. Dead simple exercise. It could be something really small, it could be something really big. Doesn't matter. You just need to have some bits to reflect on. Just take some time to think about it. Hopefully you've got a couple, 3, 4, 5 different things. And then we're going to dive into some other little exercises in a second. So everyone should have now written down a couple of things that have gone well. You don't need to share these with anyone, so I'm not going to ask you to start calling out what they are. So just be as honest as you want. Give yourself a little pat on the back. But it's good that you've all got things that have been all gone well. Right, when we go into this next bit of goal setting, we're not going to look into the past any longer. So no past tense when we talk in the goal setting in this next bit. And like we spoke about on the retreat last week, we don't have any words that end in RE or ER because they tend to be things like, I'm going to do more of something, or I need to be better at something. And that's not really like quantifiable, is it? You can't really commit to something that's not really a committed statement. So if it ends in RE, or if we set some goals in a bit and you put something down that ends in things like more, better, whatever that is, look into it and explain it and get clear on it, or cross it out and go for something else. So no past tense talking, nothing that ends in RE and nothing that ends in ER. And what we want to do in this next bit is set some clear goals, but then don't get attached to the actual outcome of it and start looking at the process of things. If you get any questions during this as well, pop them in the chat, ask away. So the process against the outcome, for example, an outcome could be a big, massive target, a goal you're setting, and then the process is just being in it every single day and just doing those little bits. So for a weight loss target, if that's what you want to focus on, outcome is the weight loss. Once you've got that, that's fine, leave it there, and then start committing to the process of drinking 1.5 litres to 2 litres of water a day. What can I commit to every single day, and just work on that and get stuck into that process. I've made a little note here about some of the things we hear quite a lot of, and it's being on it and off it quite a lot. So either being an all or nothing person. Now, the notes I've made on this is when we are on it and off it. So when we're on it, we start praising ourselves, and that leads to like a reward for us normally. And then when we're off it, we start shaming ourselves and start like guilt tripping ourselves and saying like, oh, I've done this, I've done that bad. And that's how we end up completely on it or off it. If we're just in it and just doing it and things are quite precise, as in like, I need to drink 1.5 litres of water today, and then the next day focus on something else. And that's a really, really good example of how you can change from being all or nothing. Right. So actual goal setting. You've got what's gone well. You've got some little rules to follow. This is what I want you to write down. So you need to write down, it's the 31st of December and I have. Again, we use this on the retreat with the ladies. If you were on the retreat and you've done this, either go into more depth of what you've written or see if it's still what you want. So the sentence that you complete is, it's the 31st of December and I have ... And within the next minute, you're going to complete that sentence. So take a bit of time to think on that, and we'll start slowing down. So it's the 31st December, I have, and then you fill in the blanks from there. And then this is how we're going to start creating the goal. If you want to go and put something on the paper and your pen stops, you think, and if you start doubting yourself, just put down what you were going to say anyway, get it on the paper, and then have a think about it. Don't not put it down because you start doubting yourself, or you think, well, that's a silly one, or what happens if I can't do it, or what would someone think? No one else is going to see this paper, or no one else needs to see it other than you. So the sentence you finish in is, it's the 31st December and I have. And then on that now, I've got some questions for you, and you're going to pick out the questions that you think are best put with that to challenge you on it. So I'm going to ask you, how does that look? I'm going to ask you what needs to change. Who do I need to start being? So what sort of habits and traits do I need to start working on and collecting to get that result? They're the 3 questions that I want you to pick one of them out and just challenge on what you put. So your answer, how does that look? What needs to change to get that? Who do I need to start being to get that result? And again, you've got a minute just to note down some bits on that. And if you want to make them really, really brief so you can come back to them later on, that's fine. Even if you're really, really bad, or you think you're really bad at goal setting, so far you should have just given yourself a pat on the back what you've done. You should have completed a sentence, and you should have just asked yourself a question on that sentence. So who do I need to start being? How does that even look? What needs to change? These are all questions to start challenging your goal that you've set. And then in the next bit, we're going to start breaking down into getting more precise and in the process and not the outcome. So feel free to carry on writing with that. This next bit now, so it's a really important question. Can it be done? So ask yourself, is what you've put down actually achievable? So if you've set something that's got a number related to it in the next 3 months, and you've got like 10,000 holidays coming up or something like that, and it can't be done, then change it around. Just ask yourself an honest question. This isn't like a self-belief exercise, whether you think, can you actually do it? It's, have you got the time? Have you got loads of things coming up that might stop you? They're the sort of things you need to be wary of. If so, edit it and change it a little bit. Whether you believe it can be done or not, it doesn't really make a difference, because you can still have the self-belief issues, but carry on moving forward anyway. So let's say if you were thinking like you couldn't do it, but then you can keep thinking that as much as you want. But as long as you're moving forward and keeping the work up, then that's fine. Right, so next bit on the paper, we've got build your plan. So we've got a monthly. So what you should have is 1, 2, 3. So a smaller vision of your big goal. How does that look in 3 months' time? How does it look in 2 months' time? How does that look in 1 month time? So almost like you probably would in work, setting yourself some little targets. How would that goal look broken down into 3 months? And then you're going to have another minute here to write those down. Again, keep it brief so you can come back to it later or go for it. Up to you. So we've got 3 monthly shorter targets to hit, which are part of the bigger vision that you have. And then once you've got that, you're going to break that down into weekly. So what do you need to start doing every single week for the next 12 weeks? Again, spend a bit of time filling that out. And then once you've done that, you're going to go right down into your daily. So let's call them non-negotiables. What can you get done every single day without fail for the next 12 weeks? The really simple bit, like I posted in the groups, are things like water. There's absolutely zero reasons why everyone that's here now can't drink a set amount of water every single day for 12 weeks, no matter how many commitments you have on, how many holidays, meetings, whatever. That's something that if you commit to, you can get done. So weekly after that, and then daily after that. So in the question before, who do I need to start being? What's your daily to-dos? What's your weekly to-dos? And the weekly doesn't have to be 7 days of it. It can just be, I'm going to commit to doing something once a week, which will contribute towards what you want. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to recap. So nothing with the 2 letters RE or ER at the end. So we're not on about doing more of, we're not on about getting better at. Let's get precise with these so we know exactly what we're working towards. And then from that, you've got your monthlies. You've got your big one at the top of the pyramid, and you've got your 3s, and you've got your month broken down to the week, what you need to be doing each week. And then you've got your plan for the daily. Now, these are all pretty much what you need to get results for the next 90 days. However, start adding some meat onto the bones and adding some extra bits in, but don't go flat out and, like I said before, be all or nothing. So if you've got a daily commitment now, if you were able to do that for 90 days, would it get you the result you want? It probably would, or get you really close to it. And then if you want to start speeding things up, start adding one more bit in, but don't get to the point where you add 3, 4, 5 things in, and then as soon as you have a bad day in work or you have a lot on, one of them drops off, and then before you know it, you're not doing none of them. So get in a habit and a routine of doing one of them, and it's absolutely solid before you start adding other bits in. So don't go 100 mile an hour this, because it's not going to last long. Again, if you've got any questions, just pop them in. coming towards the end of the action bits now. So have a little look over your paper, and it should look like a pyramid where you've got your vision at the top and it starts breaking down to the bottom, and it's really clear and precise, because if you read it back up, then it should say, I need to do this daily, this once a week, I need to be at this point in 1 month, this point in 2 months, this point at the end, and that should give me what I want. And again, a serious question to ask on this: can it actually be done? And it doesn't mean whether you believe it or not. Have you set something to do? Well, I don't know, let's say if you're flying for 24 hours, for example, and you've set yourself a daily target of doing a workout every single day, then that's something that's not going to happen. So think about what's coming up and just prepare as much as you can. If anyone's stuck as well, then shout out. Oh, right. In the reverse of these, we'll have these in the studio for the start of October. So the Monday is the 2nd, I think. I think the 1st of October is a Sunday. And it's a habit tracker. So some of you might have them already. It's a sheet, and it's going to work backwards towards what we've just been doing. All it is you tick something that you set off on a bit of paper each day. And it sounds really, really simple, and it really, really is. And you stick it to your fridge. You list off what you're going to commit to, and you do it every single day, and you get into the habit of marking things off when they're done. And it's these little actions that'll start building up to your bigger results. So we're going to work back on what we've just set. So your dailies, what I want you to do, if you can, in the chat bit, pop what your daily thing is that you're going to commit to do. It should all be very, very, very simple, low level stuff. It shouldn't be anything like running 10 miles a day or whatever. So pop it in there. It's going to be around the basics of some water, some food, some activity, probably some self-care, or around the sleep routine. They're the main ones. Once you've got something in there and you're doing it well, by all means, start adding something else in, but just be wary of adding too many things in that you start missing the basic. Minute walk. Good. Water levels. Make sure if you're putting things like water in that, you've written down on your paper an actual commitment of what you're going to do. So no messing about with just water. Let's have a set figure on it. It doesn't have to be anything big to really like get people giving you a round of applause or whatever. Just be something small that you're going to do every single day. Drinking a litre of water a day is probably better than just drinking 500 ml one day, 1.5 litres next day, and being a bit ad hoc with it. Good. Right, so to recap. There we go. So to recap on this now, you've got things that have gone well. And if you ever struggle or you start feeling unmotivated or anything like that, the quickest way to get yourself back on track is to do the very first thing we did and the very last thing we did. First thing was list what's gone well. And the second bit, or the last bit we did, which is the second bit, is to set yourself a daily commitment. If you ever find yourself really struggling, just do that. List some bits that have gone well, and then go straight into an action point of saying, today, I'm just going to get this done. Don't worry about tomorrow, the day after, what's happened last week. If you just focus on that, you'll start finding instantly you're more motivated, it creates a different state energy-wise, and things will just become a lot easier to move forward with. If you're going to spend time going back over this now, then start bulking out different bits of it. And if you find anywhere you've got the words more, better, like I said, with the RE or ER at the end, then get rid of them and change them around. 15-minute daily stretch, consistent steps, drinking the water. Good. Right, so we've got 90 days. If you get to day 10 or even day 2, one of them doesn't happen, doesn't matter. Just focus on the next day if it's been missed, and you make sure that's done. So don't put, if you've got 1.5 litres, for example, and you miss out one day, It's not the end of the world. You just move on to the next day and you start again from then. Let's get out of the habit of starting and having like a big gap in between the stop and the start. Right, again, your invitation from this is just to go back over everything you've written and really get into like action with it and make sure you're clear on what it is. Hopefully you've got something basic to do every single day for the week and what you'd like at the end of it. Again, don't get stuck on the outcome. Let's get stuck into the process of getting daily bits done. Right, before you leave, if you want to ask any questions later on, you can do. We've got something that's going to start that I'm going to be running myself from October the 1st. So there's 92 days left of the year once we hit October the 1st. And what it's going to be and how it's going to work, it's going to be super, super simple. We're going to have a WhatsApp group we create, and every single day I'm committing to posting in there something around goal setting, something around positivity, psychology, whether it's a quote, whether it's something you can go out and do, action step, something to challenge yourself on, or a little bit of learning for you. So every single day, my commitment to the group is no matter what I'm doing, where I am, and normally when I go on holiday, my phone goes in the suitcase and I don't see it till the end, but I'll commit to doing it because the people in the group are going to be committed as well. It's 92 days of working on your mindset and having a space where the only people in there are all working on the same. So there's no sort of distractions from any other apps or whatever buzzing. So you can't just all of a sudden be in that group and then start watching a cat video or someone falling over on YouTube. Everything will be kept in the WhatsApp group. So it's run for 92 days. The commitments are from us and the commitments will be from you. There'll be certain rules you'll follow. And there'll be times where the group shut off, so it's not always pinging, and there'll be certain times where it's open for conversation as well. There'll be a couple of bonuses along the way that we do that'll only be in the group. So you're not going to see anything content-wise that's going in this group that you'll see anywhere else. And any of the bonuses that we give will be kept in there for the people that are in there. So it's the 92-day, it's called the Jacked Up Mindset Group, and it'll run until the last day of this year. If you want to get involved, it costs you 32p a day for the next 92 days if you want to get involved. It's nothing super magical and transformational. It's just going to be something you can check in on every single day, and it's going to give you something most likely to start your day with the right foot forward. If you want to get involved in that and jump on that, let me know. Send me a private message after this. I'll get back to you later tonight or tomorrow morning, but we're going to roll that out. The 32p a day thing adds up to £30 for the rest of the year, and that's it. Anyone else that comes on board after the 2nd of October, whether they join in November or December, it's still going to be the same price for them for the short amount of time. So at the moment, it's 32p a day. Guys, if you want any more info on that, message me. You've all got notes written down there of what you need to do. So don't worry about going out planning everything because your plan's in front of you. You've got yourself a daily target. You've got yourself a weekly challenge. You've got yourself somewhere to be within a month, and you've got something to work towards as well. If you ever fall off the bandwagon, get your book out that you've just written the notes on and have a look at what you should be doing daily. And that's it. So with that, I'm going to end the recording. I'll post this in the groups as well later on. So if you want to go back to it, you can. But again, if you've got short answers, spend a bit of time now while you've got 5 minutes and just dive into a bit deeper, unless anyone has any questions. You've all been muted, so if you want to put your hand up, you've got a question. Or if not. Cool. All right, everyone. If you get questions later on, just send us over a message and I'll see you all soon. I'll unmute you.